Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. This is, I think, going to be my last Ranunculus video unless I get a request and it's something I can actually do. So I have gone as far as I can on the ribbing at the bottom with my red of my lovely color changing. And I'm about to do Lori's stretchy bind off with my blue, just to make it really obvious what's going on. I've watched the video. We're going to see if I can replicate what we're supposed to do with you. So let's get to it. All right, so here is the end of my row, the beginning of my new row. And I'm going to start my bind off. And I'm going to start it with brand new yarn. Now, one of the things she does for this stretchy bind off is we need to be able to rotate this needle, which may sound a little crazy, right? And it's hard to rotate it when it's stuck in all of this. So you could use a separate needle if you have a separate size 8 or size 10, depending on what you're using. If you have a separate needle, go ahead and use that because then it is free and clear of this. If you want to use this same needle, what Midori did in her videos is she actually pulled it out to the cable and left it hanging out like this. Then we are going to go ahead and knit the first stitch. This is very similar to knit one, purl one, and just lift it over, which is a bind off you absolutely can do. And if you want it to be a little looser, a little stretchier, you can always just go up, back up to your 10s if you're on 8s for the bottom here. Now I'm going to do my little trick where if I'm joining a new yarn, I take the hand I don't normally hold tension in, I grab the tail and I hold it to the back of my work. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to knit my first stitch. And what her instructions said is when there's a purl stitch in front of you, you want to twist this needle counterclockwise. Which again, when you hold your tension in your right hand like I do, this can be a little bit challenging. She wants you to give it a full rotation counterclockwise, which means coming towards you first. Think about the face of a clock, counterclockwise. I'm going to see if I can hold it, and I'm going to twist towards myself. I'm going to give myself, come closer to the tip if you need to. Give myself plenty of space to twist it all the way around. Don't catch it on this back yarn. I had to actually let that go. I gave it a complete and total twist, counterclockwise. And then I'm going to come and purl. And then just like a normal bind off, when you have 2 stitches, you pull one over the other, the one that's further away over the one that's closer. Now, when there's a knit stitch coming up, she wants you to twist clockwise, which means, again, I think I just have to let go of my tension and not hold it, because clockwise means coming this way, and you've got to twist it and not catch it on what's back there. We're going to knit and pull the one further from the needle over the needle. Next one coming up is a purl stitch. So I'm going to twist counterclockwise, come towards yourself, and back and up. I'm going to grab my yarn. For an English knitter, it's a little wonky. And we're going to purl. And we're going to pull one stitch over the other. I'm going to leave my yarn hanging in front for this, because since there's a knit stitch coming up, I want to go clockwise, which if you think about looking straight down on your yarn means going away from yourself. Twist away. I'm going to use my left hand here to help, and forward and up. This cable should twist and untwist if you're doing this right. If it gets super twisty, you're going too many times in the same direction. You don't want to do that. Okay, we're about to knit. bring my yarn to the back, go ahead and knit my stitch, pull one over the other. Leave my yarn in the, I'm just letting go of it every time. When she did it as a continental knitter, I think she could hang on to her tension. Since I'm English style, I hold my yarn in my right hand. I'm not going to do that. Purl stitch is next. Purl stitch is counterclockwise. Purl stitch, this needle is going to come towards you, just like when you purl, your yarn is in front. That might be one way to remember it. So I'm going to twist this towards myself all the way around. And then I'm going to grab my yarn. Try not to yank on it too hard, because the whole point of this is to have a stretchy bind off. I purled. I'm going to pull one stitch over the other. Leave my yarn hanging in front. My next stitch is a knit stitch. So I want to move this clockwise, which means moving it back. Think of the yarn for a knit stitch needs to be in back. So if you want to, you can move your yarn to the back and then twist your needle back to front. And we go ahead and knit, and we pull one stitch over the other. Now the way I'm doing this, since I didn't knit a row of blue first, we're going to see my red stitches sticking out there. I will see how much of this I have left, and if I decide I want to pull it out and do it again. But let's just keep going with this. Okay, so here's what I'd recommend. I think this is what's going to keep it in my head for myself too, is I have a purl stitch coming up next. I'm going to move my yarn to the front to purl, and then I'm going to rotate my needle towards me, but all the way around. Towards me, and then try not to catch any yarn and flip it to the back. But I came front first because there's a purl stitch. And now I'm going to purl and pull one stitch over the other. Knit stitch coming up next. Move my yarn to the back, and my needle needs to go clockwise, which means back first. Flip it all the way around and knit. And pull one over the other. Bring my yarn in front to purl, but then I'm going to twist, and I'm going to bring my needle forward first, following my yarn, but then it's going to twist all the way around. And I'm going to purl and pull one over the other. Move my yarn to the back. Then my needle needs to go towards the back too, but then it needs to flip all the way around. I'm going to try to move my hand out of the way. I'm using my left hand to help me twist it. And then I'm going to knit and pull this over. Yarn to the front, because when I'm before a purl stitch, I'll move my yarn, and then counterclockwise, I'll move my needle forward. Don't lose your stitch off of it. All the way around. Purl. Take a stitch off. Move my yarn to the back. There's my knit stitch. Before a knit stitch, go clockwise, which means go back to front. That time I tried just holding it under here to help me twist this guy. Let me knit one, pull one over the other. Purl stitch coming up next, so let me move my yarn and then move my needle. I'm going to hold on to this stitch here because that helps me move my needle around and up. Purl, lift one over the other. Knit stitch coming up next, so move my yarn to the back to knit. I'm going to grab this stitch here to help me move my needle to the back and twist all the way around to the front. Knit a stitch, pull that over. You can see this is going to take a little while. I almost kind of like how that looks though, with the blue peeking through in that way, and my twisted stitches just sinking all the way down to the bottom. And it's a little stretchy. Take a look at that. So I'll do this for morning meditation too tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to have a chance to edit this until sometime tomorrow, if not later this week. But I will get this video up as soon as I can. All right, so we just tried this. It is pretty late at my house right now. So this Lori stretchy bind off, I will keep doing in the morning. I will edit this video when I can, but I didn't know when I'd have a chance to film this. So there we go. Now I've got it filmed. I hope you've enjoyed this series on the ranunculus. If there's another pattern that we should take a look at, let me know. I can't do every pattern, but if it's one that we choose to do as a knit along or something that I choose to make going forward that's popular enough that y'all would like to see videos, let me know. Can't promise anything, but I'd love to keep y'all crafting. If you can, please at least subscribe or like or give us a comment here to help the algorithms out. That is a no money needed way that you can help support this channel. If you'd like to monetarily support the work we do, and we appreciate everyone who supports us in some way, whether it's monetarily or not. But if you could spare a few dollars a month, we have memberships here. We have patreon.com/sundragon. Our patrons, we'll put y'all in the credits. We definitely appreciate everybody who watches. As I always like to say, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.